Yo, what is up, everyone? Today we are looking at more MTG Core Set 2021 spoilers, and today we're going to look at some very powerful cards and some more reprints, a lot more reprints. So let's just jump right into it. So the first card we're going to look at today is Elder Gargoth. Gargoth. Anyways, it's 3 and 2 green for a 6/6 beast, which has Vigilance, Reach, and Trample. And whenever attacks or blocks, you can either create a 3/3 green beast, you can gain 3 life, or draw a card. So when you first look at this card, you think, wow, that has a lot of abilities, looks really good. And yeah, it does look really good. The problem is there's just so many cards out there that can just one-shot it. Like, the amount of removal is ridiculous right now in the standards, so I think a big creature like this that, it doesn't have hexproof, it can't be countered, it doesn't have anything like that. I honestly think it's just too slow to see that much playing standard. But it definitely will be a top tier draft card, and then who knows what else it can do in other formats. I doubt it will be that good of a card, in like Modern or Pioneer. But, maybe see some play in Commander. Anyways, let's get on to the next card, which is Shandra, Heart of Fire. Again, 3 colorless and 2 red. Planeswalker with foil loyalty. And its first +1 is discard your hand, then exile the top 3 cards of your library. Until end of turn, you may play those cards exiled this way. First abilities, pretty good. It's the ability's probably going to be very useful if you're playing some sort of aggressive deck. So the other +1 is just deal 2 damage to any target. That's okay. I mean, for 5 mana, I don't know if it's really that worth it. Anyways, the -9 is search your graveyard and library for any number of red instant sorcery cards, exile them, and then shuffle your library. And excuse me, you may cast those cards and add 6 red mana. So the -9 obviously is really good, but the problem is you need to have Shandra live 4 turns without taking any damage. So I think this card is just too slow. It's 5 mana, it's a lot just to get a +1 that can make you play more cards. Like, if you're playing mono red, which is where you want to play this card, that's already, you've wasted too much time, and you just want to kill your opponents as quickly as possible. So this card is alright. I think it'll actually see more play in some like Super Friends decks than mono red, just because you can, deal a lot of damage to different creatures. It could also be a win con, and then hopefully get that -9. So anyways, let's just get on to the next card. So next we have Masari's Lieutenant. So 3 mana and a white for a 3/4 human knight. Has Vigilance, protection from multicolored. When it enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. And whenever Masari's Lieutenant or another creature you control dies, if it had a 1/1 counter on it, create a 2/2 white knight creature token with Vigilance. That's a lot to read. So 4 mana 3/4. That's not that good. But Vigilance, protection from multicolored. We have definitely seen how powerful protection from multicolored can be. With forget the name of the card. From Ravnica, the X cost. Anyways, protection from multicolored is really good. When it enters the battlefield, you can put a counter target creature you control, which can also include Masari's Lieutenant. So if you don't have any creatures, you can just put it on that. So that already makes it a 4 mana 4/5 with Vigilance and protection from multicolored. That's actually pretty good. And on top of that, whenever another creature you control dies, if it had a counter on it, you can get a 2/2 white knight. That's actually really good. Like, if you're playing an aggressive white weenie deck where you probably have lots of counters and stuff, you get this out, and someone has like Shatter the Sky, you can just get a 2/2 for each creature that died that way. Well, assuming it had a counter on it. So I think that has a lot of potential. You know, could be good in some aggressive decks, but we will see. Alright, so next we have the Idol of Endurance. It's 2 and a white for an artifact, and when Idol of Endurance enters the battlefield, exile all creature cards with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard until Idol of Endurance leaves the battlefield. And then for 1 and a white, you can tap it, and until end of turn, you may cast a creature spell from among the cards exiled with Idol of Endurance without paying its mana cost. So, again, a lot to read on this card. I don't think it's that good. You're exiling all creature cards for 3 or less. So let's just say you do that. Well, you're probably not doing it at turn 3, but let's say you do that when you have 5 mana open. You do that, 2 mana open, you tap it, and then you can play a card that you exiled with it for free. It has to be, of course, 3 or less. Converted mana cost 3 or less. This card is decent. It might see play in white weenie decks. It's really hard to judge for this. This could either... I don't think it has that high of a floor or that low of a ceiling. Sorry. I don't think it has that low of a floor or that high of a ceiling. I think it's kind of a mid-range card that, you know, could either be, like, not that playable or pretty playable. And you also compare it to Luros. It's, you know, basically Luros except on an artifact. And you have to pay mana to get the card back. So I don't know. I think people would rather just play Luros, even though you have to pay that 3 mana to get it initially. But who knows? Maybe it'll be better than Luros. This is another card that I'm not too confident it'll see a lot of play, but definitely has potential. So next we have Jolrael, I think is how you pronounce it. This is the weirdest name ever. Munwoli. Okay, that I butchered that so bad. That is unbelievable. Okay, Recluse. Okay, that's a little easier to say. Anyways, for 1 and a green, legendary creature. 1/2. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, you get a 2/2 green cat. Ooh, more cats. That's what I like to see. Anyway, so 6 mana until end of turn. Creatures you control have base power, power and toughness XX, where X is the number of cards in your hand. This is an interesting card. There's plenty of draw spells here in standard right now. So, I mean, let's just say you can draw an extra card each turn. Getting a 2/2 each turn is pretty good, but I don't know. I think this card would be good in a deck that's, you know, centered around it. I don't know if it really would do well in other decks, maybe more like a controlling Bant deck, control-ish Bant deck, where you just draw a ton of cards and control the board without board wipes. And then this is your win con. So this card definitely has a lot of potential. Another card that I'm not too sure how well it will play out, but I am definitely excited to play with her. Next, we have See the Truth. For 1 and a blue sorcery, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 of those cards in your hand, and the rest in the bottom of your order. In the bottom of your library. So that made no sense. Bottom of your order. Yes, that's exactly what it says. Yes, definitely. Okay, anyways. You can put those on the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. But if the spell was cast from anywhere other than your hand, put each of those cards in your hand instead. So this card could be very fun. So if you manage to play it from your graveyard with, you know, so there's several cards in standard right now, but this is definitely going to be that you can get play cards from your graveyard, but this is definitely going to be interesting card to see how it plays in older formats like Modern, Legacy, things like that. Because with the things I do to get spells back, there's so many options in those formats, and to just draw 3 for 2 is pretty good. But honestly, it might just seem more plain Pioneer, to be honest, but I'm not too sure how this card will play out. But Yet again, another card that just looks, that has a look of greatness, but we'll definitely have to wait and see. Next, we have Necromentia, kind of like dementia, so that's cool. I don't know, not dementia is not cool. Sorry, do not quote me on that. Please do not take that out of context. Okay. Anyways, it's a for 1 colorless and 2 black sorcery, and you can choose a card name other than a basic land card card name. Search target opponent's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with that name and exile them. That player shuffles their library, then creates a 2/2 black zombie creature token for each card exiled from their hand this way. So this card's very similar to Unmourned Ego, except that it's only black, no blue in it, and instead of, I forget, I think if the card is in their hand, they get to draw cards, I believe. They create 2/2s. So I'd say it's slightly better than Unmourned Ego. This definitely will see some sideboard play in Standard, maybe Pioneer. But yeah, overall, I think it's a decent card that we'll see some play, mostly just in sideboards, and I think the meta for certain formats will really dictate how well it does. Okay, so next we have Sandras Incinerator. This card is fun. So 5 and a red for a 6/6 elemental. This spell costs X less to cast, where X is the total amount of non-combat damage dealt to your opponents this turn. It has trample, and whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to an opponent, Shandras Incinerator deals that much damage to target creature or planeswalker that player controls. So this card looks broken. Okay, I just gotta flat out say this card, I don't know if it's getting banned, but come on, this is not hard to cast. Okay, you especially, maybe this card might not be that good in Standard, but just think of burn in other formats. You can easily deal like 5 damage by turn 3 in 1 turn. So just getting a 1 mana 6/6 should not be that hard for the burn deck. So honestly, this card I feel like could easily dominate Pioneer, but then again, you just don't know until you see it in action. So this could be one of those cards where I'm just like, okay, this card's getting banned, but it ends up just not doing that much. But I would watch out for this card. I think this card will do really, really well. After that, we got Lore Scale Codel. Codel? Is that how I pronounce it? I don't know. Anyways, for 1 green and blue, you get a 2/2, and whenever you draw a card, you can put a 1/1 counter on it. So we got another card that keeps on getting counters, so that's cool. So it's in blue and green, and you just get counters when you draw cards. So we can go back to Drorail, the card where whenever you draw your second card each turn, you get a 2/2. Plus this, you have both of those, drawing multiple cards each turn. You'd have some fun combos, but I don't know how strong it'll be in Standard with this power creep that we obviously are seeing in this set and the previous sets. It's hard to see this seeing much play, but watch out for those draw decks. You never know. Now we got Masari Solidarity. So for 1 and a white, it's a sorcery. You can put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. Decent card, okay in draft. This might make White Weenies good. I mean, there's so many cards in here that like go well in White Weenie decks that this definitely will be a good draft archetype, but definitely, could be a deck in Standard to watch out for. Cards like this I like, but just with the kinds of cards in Standard, I feel like a strategy can really just get destroyed by, all these board clears and whatnot. So it has potential, but I honestly don't think it'll see that much play at all. Here we got Carrion Grub, which is 3 and a black, 0/5 insect. And it gets plus X plus 0, where X is the greatest power among creatures cards in your graveyard. and when it enters the battlefield, mill 4 cards. So I forgot to mention this in my last set review, but mill is now a mechanic, and that is actually really cool to see. Was there something that the community came up with? Not come up with, because millstone is the reason why people call it mill, but it's just really cool to see that it's a new how do you say it, mechanic, game mechanic, really, or not mechanic, ability of a creature. So that's cool. This card's okay. This it's just uncommon that probably won't see playing standard or any other format, but could be a fun card to play with in draft. Who knows what you can do there. Next we got Faithless Faith's Fetters, which is an interesting name. Anyways, it's for 3 and a white, enchantment aura, enchant permanent. When it enters battlefield, gain for life. Cool. Enchanted permanent. It's a permanent. Can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. So we have better cards in standard. Probably won't see any play in standard. Maybe 1 or 2 of. It depends on the meta. But fun draft card. Not much to say about this. Seen a lot of cards like this, but I think it is nice because you enchant permanents and basically, it deactivates anything you do. I mean, it's activated abilities, so there are some things that it doesn't get. So then again, Banishing Light might just be the better card. You just gain 4 life with this card, so honestly, not too good. Alright, now we got Pestilent Haze. For 1 and 2 black sorcery, you can either choose one. So either all creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn, or you can remove 2 loyalty counters from each planeswalker. This is an interesting card. It's so situational. I can't imagine seeing it any play in a main deck of really any deck in any format. Yeah, this card is just weird. Definitely has potential, but I don't know, we'll really have to see. Giving all creatures -2/-2 is obviously really good against aggro decks, but we already have Cry of the Carnarium, so that's whatever. But it does have the other option of removing 2 loyalty counters from each planeswalker, which is nice with all the planeswalkers that are in standard right now, but 2 counters, it's just not enough. I don't think it is. So I don't see this card seeing much play, even though it does look like a very fun and, good card. Here is Reign of a Revelation. For 3 and a blue, instant, you can draw 3 cards and then discard a card. So this card is pretty good. A little expensive, I would say, but it is an instant, so that is nice. So Chemist's Insight, or it's comparable to Chemist's Insight, except you're basically drawing 1 less card, but for 4 less mana. If you're including the jumpstart effect. So I'd say it's a very, very slightly better than Chemist's Insight. And with that being said, it could see some play in control decks, although I don't think they'll run for them, but who knows. But it could definitely do well in those draw decks that look like they're trying to push with all the counters and whatnot, and draw rail. And I think it was the Lore Scale Snake. Yeah. Alright, next we got Village Rites. Now, this is a fun card. So, it's a common. 1 black instant. At an additional cost to cast the spell, sacrifice a creature. Oh, ew. Draw 2 cards. Okay, I kind of hate this card. First of all, drawing 2 cards for sacking, like a 1/1, that's pretty good for 1 mana. Second of all, black-red sacrifice is already a top tier deck already all the shenanigans with witches' ovens, stealing your things and destroying them, which already pisses me off enough. But just imagine them stealing your creature, using village rights to kill it to draw 2 cards. Like, that's just so degenerate. But what can you do? I think this is what's gonna just destroy other creature decks and just prevent just vault Black Red Sacrifice to one of the better creature decks, or the best creature deck. But who knows? Maybe it won't be as good as I think or other people think. But yeah, looks really good to me. So this is the part of the video when we're gonna go over some reprints. Some exciting reprints this video, some not so exciting. Anyways, let's get right into it. So the first reprint we're gonna look at is actually Cultivate, which is very cool. So 2 and a green, most of you probably know what this is, but you can search your library for up to 2 basic lands, reveal those cards, put 1 on the battlefield tapped and other in hand. This is a good ramp card, and it definitely will see a little play in Standard, I think. Obviously it's a staple in Commander, and it's a cool little reprint, and I'm excited to see it. Another fun reprint I got is Grasp of Darkness, and that's just 2 black for an instant. Target creature gets -4/-4 until end of turn. So that I think it was last played in Battle for Zendikar. I think it was when it was last played. Anyways, very good draft card. Might probably see some play in Standard. Yeah, I think it will do well in maybe I mean, it's 2 black, so the problem is it doesn't really fit that well into these 3 color control decks like Sultai or Esper, but it's a very good card and certainly see some play at least. Now, this is a really fun reprint. We've Heroic Intervention is getting reprinted. So that is gonna really shake up the meta. Green decks, lucky you guys got Heroic Intervention, and I'm already scared because I don't play green decks and I like playing control. So this is gonna be a good card. Most of you probably know what it does, but colorless green instant permanent control, gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. That is just so good that I think it's even gonna hold its price right now. I think it's like $20 some. It's probably gonna go down to 15. It's 10, 15. It's really good. And then we got another fine reprint with Solemn Simulacrum, and I did not play Standard when this card was in Standard, so I honestly have no insight in how well it will do in Standard, but it's a pretty good card. 4 mana, 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land, put it on the battlefield tapped, shuffle your library, and then when it dies, you may draw a card. Yeah, that's good. I wish I knew more about how much it was played in previous Standard, because it's probably not going to see any play in Modern, older formats like that. Potentially Pioneer, and I have a feeling we'll see a little bit of it in Standard. All right, next we have got Rewind. So this is another interesting reprint because I don't remember when this was last played in Standard. I don't think I played Standard when it was in Standard, but it looks really good to me. It's a free counter spell, but you need to have 4 mana. So normally free counter spells are absolutely broken, but you need to have 4 mana. So I mean, it's free because I should have read the card, but 2 and 2 blue to counter target spell, untap up to 4 lands. So basically, you're just playing it for free, right? I think this will see quite a bit of play in Standard. It's really hard for me to judge because I don't know how well or how good of a card it was in previous formats, but I think it could be even better now, especially with all the ramp there is and how good blue decks are. Like blue-green could definitely use this card. You know, even like blue-green flash, you know, maybe that'll be good again with this card. We got just a few more reprints left. These are some of the less exciting reprints. We've got Fabled Passage. Like, what? We just saw it in Throne of Eldraine, the reprint ticket. Which, this card actually makes sense to me because they've never this is the second time they reprinted it, which is, you know, it's kind of weird. Like, right away they're reprinting it, but, you know, it's kind of like a staple card, sort of. You know, it's generic, pretty generic card. You're just getting a land. And it comes in untapped if you have 4 more lands. So, not too much to talk about there, but very good card. Probably still hold its price. And yeah. And then lastly, we've got all the Scry lands. Yep, I said it. Scry lands. They, for some reason, just thought it was a good idea to reprint all the Scry lands when we already have this cycle of Scry lands in Standard, right? And I am just frustrated, dude. Why did you have to reprint the worst dual lands twice in one rotation? In the same rotation? Like, what was going through their heads? Did they just have not any other ideas? Like, come on, dude. I don't really have words for it. I'm just frustrated that they decided to do this. I don't know why, but it's whatever. I mean, that's cool. Whatever. They're going to be like $1. I don't even know if they're $1 right now. Scrylands are just laughable how, you know, bad they are compared to all the other dual lands they possibly could have reprinted or, you know, even created. But I guess since we just got triomes, the 3-colored lands that you can fetch, I guess in that sense it makes sense, but still a bit salty we didn't see any new lands. Anyways, that's about it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Oh yeah, one more thing. I just realized that there's actually the enemy Scrylands too, so we're gonna have all 10 Scrylands, so that's fun.